Hey everybody. First time that I am doing this, so thank you for being patient while I'm figuring out Facebook's new settings and posting a live video in a group. If you are here, Advent members would see this if they're in the group and they're tuning in live. If you want to comment, so I know that you're here, that would be super helpful just to make sure that I am talking to someone. Case scenario, I guess it can be recorded and played later. But if you are here, feel free to drop a comment in, and I will hopefully be doing this. Okay. Wade says it is working, so we're gonna roll with it. So I will jump right in. So hello everyone, my name is Mike Barugel. I am an Advent member, have been for about 2.5 years or so, and I have two roles. My day job is with the Small Business and Technology Development Center, or SBTDC for short. We are a taxpayer-funded organization throughout the state of North Carolina, located on all the university campuses, and we provide confidential and no-cost or low-cost business counseling and training and seminars to small businesses in North Carolina. We are obviously being called upon right now to help small businesses with things navigating through this crisis, and we are funded by the SBA and we're accredited by them, and so we're getting lots of communication from them, and we've put together a couple resources that might be helpful right now for people trying to source information about some different things and loans and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to just go ahead and two links right here that I think are the most useful, and hopefully people watching now can see those, and people watching later can get to them. The first one is the SBA's COVID-19 website. This is updated daily, if not more often than that. And it basically is the centralized resource that you really want to go to for anything related to COVID-19 for small businesses in terms of loans and different options that are available for small businesses right now. I'm also going to post in the comment box our SBTDC coronavirus resource page, which can serve sort of as a centralized hub for any and all legitimate information for small business in North Carolina about money resources, people resources, FAQs, how to quarantine your business. There's different guides in there about the SBA loans and how to apply for those correctly that we're constantly updating. So that page is also getting updated constantly, probably several times a day at this point. So I just wanted to throw those in there before we get started, just for people to have. Please review those and check back regularly. You can count on those as legitimate sources of information that are basically coming straight, in most cases, from the SBA's communication with us in their website. So I mentioned my work with SBTDC, so I'm a general business counselor there. So I work with small businesses through any challenges that they're encountering. Obviously right now there are many that have some needs, so we are really busy, but if you do need help, please go to our website, sbtdc.org, and you can register for counseling there if you need help with the loan process or anything else. I also run a business called FYT Virtual Assistants, where I'm the owner and chief operator, and there we help emerging service-based businesses free their time to focus on their passion, purpose, and profits by serving as an operations strategy partner. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. So to jump in, so today's topic is navigating COVID-19 strategies and resources for small businesses. I am obviously coming to you from my home. We luckily have an office here as a second bedroom sort of set up, and my girlfriend and I have been sort of playing the dance of figuring out who's getting what room at what part during the day. Gotten to know my new coworkers pretty well, her and our new dog Layla, who we just got a little over a week ago. So I'm sure everybody's adapting different ways to their work situation and social distancing and all this kind of stuff. And so today, really just wanted to clear up a few things about what you can do right now for the short term and the long term for your small business. So just just to start, a couple things that we will talk about and won't talk about today. So what we will do, what we will cover, so I will share some resources straight from the SBA and our partners that are set up to help small businesses in our community, as well as share some strategies and tips for short-term and long-term planning for navigating the road ahead. And what we won't talk about or get into too much detail on are speculating or commenting on any legislation or law that does not yet have a clear mechanism or procedure, so as not to spread misinformation, which honestly I feel is crucial right now. There's a lot of really great articles that are coming out about the new CARES Act that was passed recently, but because that a lot of that has not actually been operationalized into procedures and really clear cut, here's how to go about applying for some of those stuff like the PPP loans. We're not going to get into too much detail with that today. What I would encourage you to do is, like I said, the 2 links that I posted in the comments here, please check those. Hopefully by the end of the week, if not the very beginning of next week, you will see a lot more information about those PPP loans and all the other stuff that's coming out of the CARES Act. So just something for you to check regularly, and there will be more information about that sort of thing. Also, we won't dive into the specifics of all the SBA loan offerings because they are changing every day. So again, refer to those resources. They're being changed constantly. The application process, for example, for the SBA Economic Injury Disaster Loans, or EIDL for short, has changed 3 times in the last week. The good news is it's getting easier, and the requirements to apply are getting easier, and we'll just kind of touch on that, what those are a little bit in a minute. But please check back to those links for any updated information on how those applications look and how to apply, what you need to prepare to apply for those as well. You can also reach out to us at the SBTDC if you have questions or need help, as well as checking our website that I posted. So a couple key things that I wanted to cover today. So obviously, I think the word of the time right now is adapt. We're all doing that in different ways, and I really hope that, you know, as much as we can kind of clear our heads and think about, you know, we've got lots of challenges in front of us, but we also have lots of opportunity right now. And we as people are typically pretty resilient and adaptable, and so we really need to sort of channel that right now and figure out how can we adapt our business model and what we're doing and how we're communicating to really try to get ahead of the situation that's happening and is what's to come. So more practically, 3 steps that I want to talk about for your small business to minimize, these are the 3 steps. 1 would be to minimize risk, 2 would be to negotiate terms, and 3 would be a strategic plan. So in terms of the first one, minimizing risk. So I mentioned there's some resources for you to check out. So any business that's a small business right now, and or independent contractors and sole proprietors and even some nonprofits are eligible to apply for assistance with the SBA. You have a number of different loan offerings and packages going on right now. The one that's really getting the most attention and has been around for now the last couple of weeks is the Small Business Administration's EIDL application, which is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan application. Information is available on that first link I posted through the SBA. Basically, any small business and the ones I mentioned, independent contractors, sole proprietors, and even some nonprofits are eligible. The terms can be, depending on your business's needs, and the SBA would determine this. The loans can go up to $2 million. The rates for small businesses are 3.75% fixed. For nonprofits, they're 2.75% fixed, and they're up to 30 years. This is for operating and fixed expenses only, so it can't be used to, let's say, expand a business or develop, new business and that sort of thing. A lot of people have asked about the timeline for those applications. The truth is, we're still waiting to hear the real timelines. The ones the SBA sort of have shared is that it could take up to 3 weeks for a decision to be made once you apply, and then usually another week or so, it's like up to 7 business days to actually get funds. So just plan ahead. Really, you should be thinking about before you even apply for those loans or anything that's out there is what cash in hand do you have right now to kind of get you through the next month, but hopefully thinking even further than that. What's really important when I sort of mentioned that there, before you start kind of digging into all of the different options and the applications and all that kind of stuff, is to take a really solid look at your own financials and determine how long you can last with your current revenues. So taking a look at the revenues that you've had this year, even looking at last year over a similar time frame, and just getting a really good sense of what money is going to be coming in over the next couple of months and what your expenses look like and where are the gaps. What would you normally be making that you're losing out on because maybe you're losing business or there's some sort of other circumstance with COVID-19 that's either making you spend more money and have more expenses, or maybe your revenue is dropping. The key is understanding where the gaps are there. And so it's important to do that, sort of look in at your financials. From there, you really may need to think about, and I know this is a really tough conversation to have with yourself or your staff, but you really may need to think about what overhead that you can cut. And a really good way to start that is just to take a look at all of the expenses of your business, and any line item that's not directly contributing to your business's revenue, you might consider whether that needs to be there right now. Not to say that that line item has to disappear ever, but thinking about the next 3, 6, and even 12 months, what could your business go without so that you can maximize profits right now or minimize your losses? Again, for any of the other SBA type of funding initiatives that are out there, please check those links, check them daily, and you'll find out about other options. There is, for example, like emergency loan that the SBA is doing right now for up to $10,000 that you get more quickly than the EIDL application that I mentioned before. And you can still apply for both. And in fact, they've now incorporated the new $10,000 early, I forget what the actual term is called, but it's basically like an early loan, so early access to $10,000. You can basically check that off and say you want to apply for that when you're applying for your EIDL loan on the SBA application. So these acronyms just sound like you're not really sure what I'm talking about. Go to those links and they'll explain them on the SBA's website in more detail. So number 1 was minimize risk as much as possible. Number 2 is negotiate terms. So this is a little bit of a gray area, and trust me when I say we're all trying to figure out how to do this the best way. But when I say negotiate terms, what I mean is reaching out to your current lenders, i.e. your banks or wherever you're currently getting funding, whether it's investments or loans, whoever it is that you're owing money to, typically, paying back on a regular basis. Talk with them. Just have a conversation, call them up, and find out what they're able to do for you right now. Can they possibly defer loan payments? Can they delay them? Can they renegotiate some of those terms? Talk with them. Just find out what they can do for you. Explain the situation that you're in. Obviously, the first step to even do that is what I mentioned before, which is taking a look at your cash flow and getting a good sense of what you will and won't be able to do in terms of making payments to these lenders. But then reach out to them and see what you can negotiate. Same thing with your suppliers, your vendors. If you're a space business, if there are any other vendors or even contractors you work with that you may owe money to, just talk, open up those lines of communication and see what you can work out. A lot of people are in a similar position right now, and so some may have put some measures in place to help you kind of figure this out. Some may not, but it's always worth an ask, and it's always worth a conversation. On the other side of your business, when it comes to contracts, current customers and clients that you have, just figure out, are there any, depending on the nature of your business, obviously this is going to vary greatly, but sorry, I'm going to see if we have any comments here, and I don't see them. I'm just going to keep on rolling. So with any of your current clients and your current customers, just chat with them to find out if they're going to continue business, if they need to adjust something. Just work with them and try to figure out, obviously how to maintain their business as long as you can, as much as you can, but it may be worth having those conversations as well. Number 3 would be a strategic plan. How can you adapt to the new circumstances for the next 6 to 12 months? There's some really cool examples there right now of businesses that are pivoting in different ways. For those who are in the Charlotte area or know of Skill Pop, there was a couple cool articles that came out about how they pivoted in about 14 days from being primarily an in-person class-oriented type of business to an online offering. And their new product is called Skill Pop Anywhere. And so they've sort of transitioned to offering all of their classes with people that lead them online. There's also another great Charlotte area called Enderley Coffee, who's now doing hospital coffee drop box, where they're taking donations from people in the community to actually provide coffee to hospital workers. And it's obviously a win-win for everybody involved. So think about what are some ways that maybe can fill the need, fill a current need that exists in the market, as well as maybe helping the community while still earning revenue for your business. Obviously, that would be a trifecta. That would be awesome if you can do all three. But just thinking about different ways that you might be able to obviously help in some ways and fill the need that exists. For other types of businesses, whether you're offering products or services, thinking about what you can do to offer things online, have information and knowledge and expertise to share, offering a course, or even thinking about virtual one-on-one appointments or group models can be really helpful. Sorry, and I'm not seeing my comments, so I will ask one of the moderators to help me out there. Another thing to think about with strategic planning and all that's going on right now is to communicate as much as you can with all of the people that are stakeholders in what you do in your business. So that means clients, your partners, your staff. There's no absolute right answer to how to do this or exact right path on how to do this. But some of the things that I think are helpful to think about are to try to be as upfront and ongoing in communication as possible. Let people know that you're obviously in tune with what's happening. Share what you can about your business and your business model. Don't overshare. Obviously, you don't want to maybe tell people that you're about to lose all your money, for example, if that's honestly the truth. But think about what you can share and what would be helpful for you to share on either side of that equation with clients, partners, and staff. For example, if it's a customer is taking action necessary for them to continue working with you, or is taking no action the way for them to continue working with you? Is there something that needs to happen there? What does it mean for them to continue to support you? And for example, if you offer some sort of like subscription model based thing, or you're just trying to still garner their business as much as possible, maybe it's sending a message or something personal with them about how their continued business is still helping to support you and your staff and maybe the community in some different ways. I think being vulnerable but still professional is always a good way to go. Having gratitude, it's amazing. I'm sure everybody's seen a lot of inspirational videos and different things going on social media. That's pretty much all we're doing these days. But having gratitude for your clients and the people who support your business, it just goes a real long way. And I think the more that we can do that and just show people that we care and really value them, even though this is a hard time, everything that they're able to do to support you as a business means a lot. And sometimes that can make a difference. I've also seen some organizations doing like a recorded video message that they share out in an email newsletter on social media to kind of, again, show that gratitude and maybe keep people updated on what they're doing and what they're able to continue doing, or maybe the pivot that they're taking to keep people informed. So just some different ideas for you on that. Getting organized. This is a really great time for you while maybe business is slowing down a little bit, is to get yourself organized in your business. This may be the time to look at organizing your CRM, your prospects, following up on bookkeeping and invoices, and planning for your next sales cycle. I know that that's not always the most fun work to be doing, but honestly, this is a great time to be catching up, and you might be amazed at how many things you may have forgotten about in your business that actually could help you down the line, or could turn into some sort of prospect or some revenue generator going forward. So really take the opportunity. If you've got those hours in front of the computer sitting at home and you're not sure what to be working on, get your business organized. And again, if you need any help with that, the SBTDC is happy to kind of give you some thoughts and provide some guidance there. The last thing on a strategic plan that I think about is, obviously right now the economy is volatile and there's a lot of unknowns and uncertainties, and we really don't know what's going to happen next. I don't think there's anyone in the world right now who could predict that. So what we can do, though, is we can start to think about preparing for the future. So when there is more consistency and when we do see things swinging, hopefully back up in the right direction, we want to build that foundation. So that could mean things like scheduling meetings with prospects and partners now, virtually, of course, keep your distance, but start thinking about who might be able to you might be able to work with in the near future once things bounce back and are more stable. What are some ways right now that you can share with your community, with your followers, with your customers, and how can you add value? Being an active member of those communities that you're a part of. Advent going to a Facebook group for their members is a wonderful example of this. There may be some fun, inspirational things we share. There may be some really helpful information that we share. And just being active and sort of knowing that you have that support, and we're all here, even though we're behind a computer screen, we're all here to support each other, can be really helpful in times like these. And then the last item there is to pay attention to different sectors and industries that are growing. Again, this is on a larger scale, but it just can get you to think about this a little differently. And so you're starting to see a lot of, for example, distilleries and breweries sort of switch their business model to making disinfectants and things like that. And so that's a great example of how, yeah, I've been doing this one thing for so long, but hey, there's a really important need right now that we can help serve. And of course, it's good PR, but hopefully that's just the byproduct of doing it. But it's allowing the business to still operate, and it's also sharing the message with the public that this is something that's important to them too, to make sure that they're helping on a larger scale with what's going on in the world. So all of those things hopefully can help. My final thoughts, and then I'll turn to questions. So I know it's tough right now, especially being distanced from people. Hopefully you're able to jump on some different ways to connect and video calls and different things like that, but just trying to remain positive. And if you need that positivity, call someone up, jump in the Advent group if you're a member, find someone that you can chat with. I think it's really important to stay connected. Take breaks, practice self-care. Speaking of which, I know that Amy Williams of Amy Williams Wellness will be leading the Advent members talk next week, and I believe she'll be talking through some self-care items and probably some other stuff next week. So definitely tune into that next Tuesday at 4:30. Necessity breeds invention. I can't stress how ingrained this is in us already as human beings, that we, from the time that we were cavemen and cavewomen and all that, we had to figure things out in order to survive. And there's that, we're sort of wired that way. And so it can be really easy to get lost in the world of challenges and what's being overwhelmed by what's in front of you. But just take a moment to step back and think about, you've got the brain power to figure out what you can do to adapt. So it just takes some thought and an objective view on things. And like I said, stay connected and give back. I think that connection really helps to heal. So, sorry, I kind of messed up right to the half hour here, but I'm happy to stay on and answer a few questions. So I'm going to jump over, and I see that Wade has graciously texted me some things. So, question from Allison: I've heard some rumors about loans that can become grants, assuming a handful of requirements are fulfilled. Is there any legitimacy to that, or just rumors, at least for now? So thank you for the question, Allison. Basically, I'm going to give you the canned response that I know you don't want, but I have to say that it is still unclear exactly what's going to be forgiven and what's not. And so what I would just really encourage everybody to do is stay on those websites that I posted. The SBA COVID-19 website specifically is going to have all of the information about all the different loans that are available for small businesses, as well as anything that may be forgivable, such as grants. And it's possible that some of these things, I know in the CARES Act sort of said that there was going to be some things that may be forgiven. It's still not 100% clear how that's going to work. As soon as that becomes clear, it will be communicated on that website, as well as ours, which was the second link I posted. So please stay tuned on those, and you will find out what portions may be forgiven. And I know that that's going to be a huge help for small businesses once they get that information. Hope that helps. I'll stay on to see if there are any other questions. And I'm sorry that I can't see them myself. Again, thanks for bearing with me on my first Facebook Live in a group since they've updated Facebook here. Anything else? Okay. I'm going to assume that no news is good news. So I'm going to sign off here. Thanks everybody for your time. I know that this is a difficult time for all of us. I will be as active as I can be in Advent members Facebook group and trying to answer questions. Please check out the links I posted in the comments, and please feel free to reach out, sbtdc.org, if you are looking for any assistance with the applications that are available or just need some direction and guidance on your business. And you're welcome, Bridget. Happy to share. We're here as a resource, and the SBTDC is really sort of the first responder for helping businesses through disaster assistance. So we're here to help, as well as myself personally. I'm here to help as well and do everything I can. So thanks for your time. Hope you guys have a great Tuesday. I think the rest of the week in Charlotte's supposed to be really sunny. So enjoy the springtime. If you can get outside for a little bit, just keep your distance, 6 feet. All right, guys, take care.